All right, everyone. Great to see you all. Very nice to see you all we are very close to the seed level of the entire year, the entire zodiac year. We are about to embark on the new moon of the month of Aries, which is starting an amazing process for all of us, which is so important. I'm trying to make it a custom, so the night before the new moon, we will do a study like that together. Because we know that it's one of the most powerful nights of the month. So every new moon, the night before every new moon, it says that all the righteous souls are descending down to our universe, to our domain, in order to help all those beautiful souls as us to connect deeper to the light, to awaken and to help us really to find our own next level with the renewal of the month. So we know that the Shabbat before every new moon, we're doing an announcement about the upcoming new moon. What is this announcement? It's just trying to, just stream the message that there is an opportunity for rebirth for all of us. It's not just the moon under rebirth, it's also us, because we are the moon, we are the vessel. And we have such an important and powerful month in front of us. Of course, it's the month of Nisan, and it's the first month of the zodiac. It's the entrance to the real spring. So the Rav, I heard a lecture by the Rav that said that spring, it's like a spring to actually jump us, to elevate us to a place much and beyond of where we were. And we know that's what all Pesach is all about. So I've been learning deeply with some of our senior teachers, such as Eliyahu Yardeni, and Meir Yeshurun, and I found beautiful things. It's not going to be your everyday study from Kabbalah.com. It's going to be a little bit different. If you want to go a little bit more over the details of Pesach and all of that, there are plenty of decoding Pesach on Kabbalah.com. Today we're going to speak about the consciousness behind Pesach and what in the big picture is it symbolizing. And it's enormous. Every year, I see how much I forgot from the experience of last year. And, maybe it's better that we forget, because then we are excited to learn again in different consciousness. So we understand that Pesach, really, it's the story is the time of Exodus of the Israelites from Egypt. But it says that the Israelites didn't want to go out of Egypt at all. So why did it become such a big thing, saying that this is the actual time that they were engaging with true freedom from enslavement? So, did you see a slave that doesn't want to be forgiven and being allowed to go free? So it says that over the stories afterwards, there was a request from the Israelite, get us back to Egypt. It was fun there. We had plenty of food. We had pleasures. It's not really about the dry story that we've been told for thousands of years. There is something very significant the Rav explained, that it's not really about memorizing and understanding that we became free. And this is the big problem with us, that we don't really want to set free. And we need to remember that. And if we remember that, we might have a chance to be able to set free on this Pesach. So it says, in Nisan nigelu, and in Nisan will be redeemed. It means that whatever happened 3,500 years ago, then on the time of Nisan, on the time of the month of Aries and time of Pesach, it was an opening in the cosmos that allowed the Israelite to jump to a completely different place of consciousness. But this access exists every year. Every year. So eventually, it could be that the totality of redemption will appear on Pesach. That's what the Kabbalah says. So it could be that this is our last Pesach and redemption is coming. Hopefully, it says that before redemption, there's going to be tremendous chaos all around us. So we definitely know that we are in that time, the time of Messiah, what we call. How many years more? It really depends on the critical mass, what we call, on those people that really are looking to transform and really engaging in transforming the rest of the world, which is the obligation of all of us. We're going to speak about it a little bit. So Pesach, as it's said by the Kabbalists, the idea of the ability to go above time. We know that when there was the contraction of creation, we experienced the Ein Sof, the endless reality near the Creator, Hu Shmo Echad. It means that there was no differentiation between us and the Creator. Yin and Yang, the light and the vessel, were so cleave to one another that you cannot see even the difference. Who is the giver, who is the receiver? But when there was a contraction, what the contraction did, it's happened in two ways. It was over time and over space. Time came about, and what is time? It relates more to imagination. It relates more to consciousness. Because where time frame is really created, it's created inside of us. So according to our imagination, that's how we can bring things about from cause to effect, from action to actual, from potential to actual. Okay, is that making sense to us? Meaning that what created is really time. It means separation. It means that everything that needs to happen in this world needs to happen through processes, sometimes very tiring processes, isn't it? That we lacking the patience of. We know one of our biggest tikkun, even from the beginning of time, where Adam and Eve came about their fall, and the same fall that happened on Mount Sinai was because of the correction of being patient. They couldn't be patient, and this is the contraction that happened. What does it mean we don't have the patience? It means that we already governed by time and space. Okay? So what is space? Space is the relation to our five senses. So we can see things now in limited ways. So imagine yourself when you look at things. It's you cannot see the whole entire picture, because everything is already shuttered down to this world. It's shuttered in such a way that there are so many sparks spread out in the entire universe that you cannot see the whole picture, especially if you just one spark enter to a body, just spark of one soul enter to a body. So space is creating the illusion of things that are separated. So we know that the contraction that happened, creation that happened, it's created only from the point of view of the vessel. What does it mean? From the point of view of the light, we are still in the frame of unification. The light never disappeared. But from our point of view, because of contractor, the space took place. And because space took place, there is what we call now the illusion and the separation. And the separation is our lack of ability to connect to other people. And the biggest problem is the lack of ability to connect to the Creator. It's so vast and far away from us that we are not really able to connect to it. The worst tzimtzum is space. It's like the most dense. It's the biggest illusion. Now time, which relates more to consciousness, it's an interesting concept. It's something that I heard from Eliyahu Yardeni. When we look at time, it's related more to our consciousness. It means to our imagination. Everyone sees things in different way according to the way they image the world. And therefore, according to someone's imagination, that's how we can manifest things. Some people, because they're lacking the imagination in a vast way, I mean, they're not able really to bypass time with their imagination. What happens to them? Things taking forever to them to manifest, and maybe will never be able to manifest their dreams. Why? Because of the imagination. Now, imagination, it's also related to the self-image, okay? Imagination, self-image, okay? Same word. What we were created, the image of the creator. Where imagination, self-image versus the image of the creator. What does it mean to be created is the image of the creator? Meaning that we, inside of us, inserted the image of the creator. It means that spark of the creator, part of the creator is installed inside of us. But what space created? The self-image. And self-image, it's already bringing us to all those belief systems that we all have. And this is our biggest correction. The moment you get into self-image, what's the problem? You're already separating yourself from the totality. And you create such limitations about what you're able and what you're not able, that eventually those stories creating a huge block. What Pesach is all about is really to disconnect us from the self-image, from the limitation of time, space. And in one shot, what happened in Pesach was complete disconnect from the world of klipo, the world of limitation, and suddenly realizing the image of the Creator. How the image of the Creator is really who we are. And that's like so significant, of course, related to any reward, because we know that Pesach didn't came because we merited. Again, we didn't want to be enslaved. Yeah, we wanted to stay there. We wanted to enjoy. It says, the Rav explained that the Egyptians had so much power, so much magic from the 1%, that they were able to control the entire world with no army. Interesting. No, nobody really thought about it. But they were able to control the world just with their attachment to the desire to receive for oneself alone. So everyone bought into that, what they sold them, yeah? Mm-hmm. And we know that the pyramid is exactly the opposite of the Star of David. So the pyramid, it's shaped like that. It means that we're taking everything from above and bringing it down to Malchut, yeah?
Grounding it, kind of?
Not grounding, sucking the energy from the upper worlds, and it's all bringing it down for us. While what the Kabbalah says, everything that you receive, it's actually for the sake of sharing. It means that you need to reflect back the light. You need to reflect back the blessing, and by that you're actually attaching yourself back to the light. So it was the opposites, and everyone were obsessed about it. And therefore, for the Israelite, there was no desire even to go out of Egypt. It was amazing there. The slavery was actually the slavery to the desire to receive for oneself alone, that's represented by the ram. So it says that on the 10th day they have to tie the ram to the bed. It means that it's not literally we're going to take a ram and tie it to the bed these days, but we are starting the process of tying the ram that represents the desire to receive for oneself alone, and eventually sacrifice it. Getting back to ego and self-image, because we know the desire to receive for oneself alone represented by our ego. This is our self-image, and it's all related to kavod. You know the word kavod? Kavod means respect. What people will think about me. The self-image, it's all related to how the external going to receive me. Can you imagine? We are worshiping it. We are worshiping all our life. Even I'm telling you, us as teacher, you see how this energy try to always pull you down. So, you're a teacher, so people will respect you, people will give you, people will honor you. It's always there. It's always some kind of energy that we must fight against, and that's the self-image. So the self-image, will people like us or not liking us? You need to close your eyes for a second and think how much during all your decision making according to that. And you will see that every decision that we're making is about that self-image. And that's the true slavery that we're talking about, my friends. There is no other slavery than that. It's like the biggest slavery that humanity attached to. Versus, the altruist that he doesn't care about his image. What he cares about is how to give to others, how to inspire to others. So as long as we are possessed by self-image and honor and respect and how much people would like me, I'm actually limiting my ability really to impact the world according to what I'm supposed to. I'm completely limiting it. And this is the problem. This is the problem. This is the reason why we have so many problems in the world. It can be solved on that day, on the day of Pesach. That's how beautiful it is. Even though we are so possessed about it, but how many people really thinking about us? How many people busy thinking, is Michael, he's wearing this hat or that hat? Will he do that? Will he do... No. People are so busy in themselves that it's kind of nonsense to waste our time to only do actions according to what people will think about. Anyways, nobody has time now anymore to think about others, unless there is some kind of agenda there. Yeah, it's absurd to how much we are possessed by it. So this is one. Yes.
I was just curious about the self-image. I understand that it kind of comes from a need for validation, external validation.
Yes, validation.
But how does consideration get put into that mix? Because if we don't care what other people think at all, isn't there a risk that we can become inconsiderate and actually blinded by our actions? Some people who don't care what other people think at all actually can become very inconsiderate and not aware of how they're coming off to other people. If we want to share the light, how are we going to get listened to if people don't appreciate what we like, what we actually
So
like,
of course, also for very selfish people, they will be less considerate with others. Yeah, so we have the same effect. When you come from a spiritual point of view and you want to express truth and you want to express progress, because spirituality and people of consciousness consider to be not so respected out there, isn't it?
That's why, because a lot of the people that became spiritual were like total social pariahs and nobody...
So this is exactly the problem. If we are possessed by what people will think about us, we're going to lower the voice of spirituality when we're out there. We won't try to make the same inspiration that we wish to, because we know that people wouldn't kind of like it.
Right.
You understand? We're not talking about not to be considerate towards others in a friendly way or loving way. It's not to be considerate to understand what is really meaningful in life versus what is not necessary. Yeah, if you believe in something but you cannot really express yourself, it's only because the problem of self-image, which relates to the ego, and that's the subject of tonight. It's not like I shouldn't care less about others.
Yeah, I just mean there should be some level of consciousness, right? Because that's what we teach children. How we need to teach children how to be polite, how to be socially acceptable. But now we're saying that we should actually do away with that. So is there some kind of balance that we're hoping to achieve here?
There is some kind of problem with being over polite.
Right.
So we know that. So if someone is trying to be politically correct all the time and you don't put any input of your soul out there just to please the other person, so it's creating a lot of chaos later on. And that's something that we need to overcome and prevent. So in relation to that, the imagination, if with the right imagination, as we said, because time gave birth to imagination, but with the imagination, what we call later on consciousness, we can overcome time too, isn't it? Let's say you had this amazing vacation in Costa Rica, yeah, and it was before COVID, and now you cannot really go out. Can you recall about what you experienced there? You can even visualize power of imagination. So it happened 2 years ago, but I can bring it now to this moment. So we have this power inside of us. Now we're going to talk a little bit about intellectuality versus true intelligence. Most of the intellectuals that are very smart people, they could be inventors, they could be all those people that created the new technologies, for example, they're actually very skeptic about the true reality. They're skeptic about, even doctors that are so smart, when you talk to them about energy, say, well, what are you talking about? Let me give you the right pill for your nonsense, So, for every condition there is the right pill, and they feel like saviors, yeah? What's the problems of being intellectual versus really what the Kabbalah is connected to? So, because what the Kabbalah is connected to is called sechel. Sechel means intelligence. But this intelligence is much above our limitation of the physicality. It's much above of the limitations of what you learn here and experience here, and according to what you see and what, the results of things and our history. And there are so many researches and analytical documents. This is only 1% of data. What about the rest of the reality? So it says that the rest of the reality is related to what we call sechel. And the sechel, which is the intelligence, it's something that you can download only when you connect to something above time, when you remove the aspect of time. But can we really do it? Can you stay in a process in midst of a trouble, in midst of a difficult relationship, in midst of health problem someone experienced, and say, no, everything is okay, there is illusion. The light is with me, even though I'm not experiencing it right now, it's completely concealed. For me, I'm still feeling it. Why? Because I have this sechel. And sechel, it's like the spiritual intelligence that we're all craving for. And that's something that happened on Pesach. They received this sechel. They received this intelligence. And only because they received this intelligence says that this is what happened during midnight. It's called Gadlut Bet. The Gadlut Bet, it says like the highest Gadlut. And Gadlut means greatness versus smallness. So the transition in Pesach of what happens, it's coming from what we call the katnut, which is the small me, the limited me, the self-image me. It's like the one that's just busy with himself, versus the ability to connect to the gadlut, suddenly seeing all the dots connected in such a way that you feel, wow, everything is already perfect. And that's what they felt. And that's the reason why they were willing to go out. But it says that this gadlut entered only for one day. Mm-hmm. And then everything was stolen back from them. It was like a huge line of credit that was given to us. But because of how this world is designed, it's designed in such a way that it's only you can merit something. Yeah? Mm-hmm. You can merit something. It means that what is merit? Merit means that you have to earn everything in this world. But it's impossible to earn. And that's something that we need to come to conclusion in Pesach, especially. That no matter what we're going to do, it's always going to be not in a level of earning, it's going to be a level of chesed. Chesed means mercy. Yeah? Mercy of the Creator. The Creator sees children like about to drown themselves to a place where there is no way back, losing their soul completely, enjoying so much the Egypt consciousness, and saying, okay, I will give you an assistance. And gave them this Pesach as a gift, but then saying, okay, I gave you a line of credit, now you have 49 days to pay it off. Mm-hmm. And that's the time of the Omer. So they had a glimpse on it on Pesach, but the real deal actually happened in Shavuot. Mm-hmm. That was the true revelation. The glimpse was just to take them out, to pull them out of the mud of the desire to receive for oneself alone. And something similar actually happened on Purim, by the way. Yeah? So it says that the worst level, the 49 gate of negativity, what we call, occur and happen on just the day before Purim. And then it actually was the awakening from below, because they awaken in prayer, they awaken in fasting, they awaken in desire. So the Creator said, okay, let me take you out. And they were building for 30 days till they were able really to get out completely from the burden, the slavery of the desire to receive for oneself alone. If we really want to earn the intelligence, the schalim, is actually this process between now till Shavuot. It's a long process. And we're going to be tested over this process, because we know that one of the most difficult times to earn is during the Omer. You heard about the Omer counting? So the Omer, considered to be negative, but it's actually one of the most positive, because it's kind of inspiring each and every one of us to have enough tests to overcome, so we can come to Shavuot with honor. What does it mean with honor? Like earning our place, earning our intelligence, not just receiving it. So we know that everything that comes in mercy creates bread of shame. This was the creation of the reality, isn't it? We wanted creation because we felt the bread of shame of the Creator. The Creator didn't mind. It says that He created us for Himself. Created the reality so He can actually share. So He be able really to emphasize His own desire, only desire, which is to share. We unfortunately wanted to earn, but it's not unfortunate, because we wanted to have the opportunity to become co-creator. But imagine yourself, when you get stuck on ego, when you get stuck on fear, when you're going to start on respect, when you're going to start on insecurities, how can you really earn? How can you really remove bread of shame? You understand? So we kind of completely lost track of the purpose that we've been asking for. The only way to do it, and that's how the Creator removed time, it's called bechipazon. Chipazon, it says that it's going to happen so quickly that you won't even notice. And if you look at life at times, you see that every breakthrough is happening usually so quickly. You say, oh, where did it came from? Oh. And then your ego tell you, oh, look at me, I've been working so hard. So you bring it back to time. Like stupid, we bring it back to time, but actually it was a miracle of the Creator doing a favor for us and saying, okay, I'm going to open this channel for you. You're going to have a breakthrough. But we immediately fall back into oh yeah, I've been working so hard. Look at me, I've been learning, and I've been training myself, and so on. And we immediately bring it down to time again.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, what's that called again?
Chipazon, it's coming from the word to rush. So it says that, but in order for us to really create breakthroughs, we have to be constantly on that level called zrizut. Zrizut, it means quickness. You know, when everything in your life is saying, you know what, let me sleep on it. Let me take my time. Let me, check other options. And this is like the intellectual word, saying, no, I don't want to jump into...
It's the opposite of certainty.
Yeah, I don't want to jump into the quick decisions right now. I love Kabbalah, but I don't want to go 100%. People are going to think that I'm maybe crazy, no? Mm-hmm. So, let's take it slow. I will take one class. Many people come to me and say, yeah, I took Kabbalah 1, it was great. Let me sit on it on a few more months. And I don't want to take Kabbalah 2 right now. So I will wait. And usually, you know what happened with those people?
Never return.
Bye.
Never return. And it's not that, God forbid, they're bad people. They just so convinced by time, by the illusion of time, and they don't believe that running after, what I'm excited of, it's the best gift that someone can have. It's all related to that. I'm not talking about people with no consciousness. The Pesach is designed for already people that is on the path, because there are millions of people that are going to celebrate Pesach. I'm telling you, they have no idea about what we're talking about. It's considered to them like gibberish what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They don't know. They just it's a family time for them.
Yeah.
Gather together and have this meal, and they try to say a few words from the Agadah, and they try to run it quickly because anyways it's so long, and they say, oh, when are we gonna eat?
Steps.
Yeah.
We have to eat.
Yeah. So they're skipping the steps. True. Some people, they're singing, they enjoy, have no idea about how much more there is to Pesach.
Yeah.
So Pesach is really for the people that already on the path, truly. Because for other people, it's just another gathering, family gathering.
Yeah.
And from that, unfortunately, you cannot receive too much.
So when you're saying this idea of rush, right? You're saying that we should rush, that we should jump at these
Jump to
opportunities,
action, what
right?
we call, yeah.
Is that not reactive behavior?
Depends. If you are someone that is not used to do things quickly,
Like
so
like
for
I'm just
you,
thinking,
rushing
because
could
realistically
be...
we're supposed to be critical thinkers, right? I don't think that we would be learning Kabbalah if we weren't critical thinkers. Otherwise, we would have taken the words of Torah and just move with it, right?
True.
But we need to question God. God wanted us to question God. That's why Abraham questioned God. So, in that process of questioning, isn't there some room for contemplation? Isn't there a space for contemplation where we can actually be critical thinkers and do something with consciousness rather than rush?
Yeah, this is the reason the Kabbalists inspire the question why.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to ask those questions.
Right.
But let's say they gave you an answer. Tomorrow you're going to rush for an action or you're going to continue to be skeptic?
Mm-hmm.
That's the question. You understand? So if they gave you a reasonable answer that gave you energy on the energy level and also satisfied your mind, the question if tomorrow you will be able to run into action.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you will see that not, and I will explain why. Even though you were convinced, you couldn't take that action, And why is it? It's because that we are slave. There is some kind of a slavery there that take place. And that's the thing that we want to really get rid of this Pesach. Yeah, but definitely, Kabbalah versus religion, it's like the inspiration to always question everything that you do, not to do things robotically.
Right.
Yeah? This is the inspiration. But after you got your answer, the question is, are you willing to make the change? Because the change usually is not comfortable. Mm-hmm. It's much easier to be robotic, isn't it? I know I come to the office every day. I have my meeting. If I don't have meeting, everything is scheduled for me. I'm not expecting anything out of the ordinary. It's much easier. I don't need to be afraid for something unknown that comes to me.
The binding of Isaac and the listening to the Creator's voice to sacrifice his own son was actually a rush. It was he was not questioning it. He was actually just following the word of the Creator. At which point it was a test where he earned the merit to become the father of many. And so I think it's a little different. Yes, he had questions about, but it began with questions about idol worship and questioning his own father's path. And it says he had to leave the place of his father. And it was in leaving that place of his father that he connected with the ability to hear the voice of the Creator and be guided in a rush as opposed to that critical reasoning, and that created the gateway to...
So it's a beautiful example, and it's actually related. It's related to Pesach, because we know that Isaac was born on Pesach, on the 15th of the month, and eventually Abraham switched between sacrificing Isaac to sacrificing the ram.
On the 10th day of Nisan to prepare for Isaac.
I think it took place on Rosh Hashanah, actually.
Right.
Because there are two Rosh Hashanah,
Yeah.
But again, you need to understand that it was the last test among 10 very difficult tests that Abraham had to be tested by the Creator.
I didn't know there were so many.
10. So in order for Abraham to achieve his level of spirituality, he had to go through 10, which on that 10, he was requested to sacrifice his son, and it's something that's completely not rational. So how we came about that and do it so quickly and, of course, not questioning. What does it mean not to question? Why we need to question the miraculous reality after we experience 3 or 4 miracles in our life? Why do we? It's stupid, no? This constant war that takes place inside of us, it's constant. It's never stopped. Abraham always been tested. Yeah, one of his tests it's an article. Let's see if we can get to it.
So we were saying that we want to remove the aspect of time to access the sechel. But when we remove the aspect of time, you said something about how we can only get there through chesed. But chesed is mercy, and mercy is time, in my understanding of things. But then you said afterwards that the Creator removes time. Am I missing something? It's like we want to get rid of time, but we need mercy, but the Creator is going to remove time.
Yeah, so it's different aspect. It means that what, from the point of view of the Creator, what type of time He gave the Israelite. I know that you are so far from understanding me, understanding creation, but I'm going to bring such an amount of mercy towards you. But mercy, it's not just, it's like the energy of mercy. It's compassion. It's like what happened in the Red Sea. The Red Sea was the energy of water, which is mercy, that drowns the negativity. Mm-hmm. The true way to cancel negativity is through mercy. Only mercy can sweeten judgment. But again, that mercy that came gave them enough time. So what mercy does? Remove the judgment, yeah? Mm-hmm. Give you enough time to do your own correction, your own tshuva by yourself. And that's what happened. Mm-hmm. You understand the difference? But there is always mercy. Because it says that when the Creator created the world, He created it in the first creation, He created it in judgment. But He saw that it wouldn't be able to survive. Nobody would be able to survive. So I said, okay, so sorry, let me correct it. So He corrected and switched it to mercy.
It's almost like forgiveness, it sounds like.
Yeah, of course.
More like forgiveness than
and as much as we are more in mercy, we have more the attribute of the Creator, which is also Abraham. Abraham was the chariot of mercy. His ability really to look at people and just give them the compassion, sweetening their judgment. Maybe I open to some question here online.
So David, these are some very deep and powerful concepts, and I'm thinking about the whole idea of pause, what a pleasure, and how that piece fits in here regarding rushing or jump into action. And there are examples like Abraham, how he had to jump into action. But when do we apply this? Pause, what a pleasure. Like when do you determine when to do that, and when do you determine when to jump to action?
Yeah, but remember, pause what a pleasure doesn't mean that you need to reduce your speed. You just need to overcome the emotions that stopping you and paralyzing you.
Yeah, analysis paralysis, as we call it.
Yeah, so you understand, pause what a pleasure, it's not something that, let me pause, let me sleep on it. No. Unless you are an Aries that always jump, because the Aries always jump, so say, okay, you relax. The Aries should relax. Because the Aries is always about the desire to receive what's about me, let me grab everything, yeah? But if you are not an Aries, most of us are, if we are not fire signs, we are very slow to action, especially the positive one, yeah? Mm-hmm. We are very fast to actions, usually when it's related to the desire to receive for oneself alone and so on. So, is that answering you? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good explanation, actually. So pause what a pleasure doesn't mean that you're not jumping to action, really, just inviting the light to guide you through in that situation.
The essential is that, like, the Creator was quick. That's the consciousness that we can keep, and to understand what is the essence of the Creator, what He can do. So if we understood that the Creator can lift us from any chaos that we have in just 1 second, we would definitely make more efforts to connect to it, no?
Of course, absolutely. Okay, gotcha.
So this is what I meant.
So to keep that consciousness that leap is possible.
Yeah, that's one of the consciousness. There are a few other things, of course, that we're talking about, and we continue to talk. Now I want to bring you to another understanding, and it's related to the word avodah. Have you heard this word avodah? It's interesting because the word eved is also part of that word. It's the root of that word avodah. There are two ways for us to look at work. Yeah, so we can look at work as a burden, which many people in the world see it this way. And it's the kind of, in that moment, they consider to be slave. Mm-hmm. Why slave? What slave does?
Work against their will.
Work against their will. At the moment someone is not watching him, what are you going to do?
Slack off.
Yeah, Exactly. So this is the mentality. So we need to see how much we have of that. Very important. If we look at work as something that is burden, I mean, it doesn't matter you're an entrepreneur or you're running your own business, or especially if you work for a corporate place which seems to be encaging you, because it's a very encaging place, even though it's paid well usually. You feel that you cannot go right or left with your opinions. We need to look at how much we feel the burden of what we chose to do in life, and the moment we can just cut the corners, we do that. Or when we not watch, we just take a break. Or in our minds, we always dreaming being somewhere else in a nice vacation near Martin in Costa Rica. The word avodah means also the end of me putting some kind of time and effort, there is a reward. This is another self-imaginations that we have. This is also part of our belief system. I need to put work and I get a reward. If you take the story of Pesach, there was no work, there was the greatest reward. Yeah? According to the creation, according to our relationship with the Creator, most of the time it works in that way. That whatever I received in life, all the blessings, if you really look carefully and you try to write down all your blessings, you say, wait a second, compared to all the nonsense that I did in my life, do I really deserve it? So, no. If you look very carefully and be sincere and say, oh, I have this, compared to others, of course, compared to the reality that exists in the world, if you're really sincere, you see that you actually got so much more than what you worked for. And says that most of the people till the age of 40, they just sucking energy from the world. Parents give you everything you need. Then you go to school, you get scholarship, you get this, you get that. And then after school, when you went somewhere, you start deciding to give back to society. Can you imagine? Most of people, half of their life, they're just receiving.
Yeah.
And only then they start really working and hopefully really making a true impact. The work is always related to reward in our minds.
Right.
In the true reality,
like work ethic is like a value of society. If you work
No.
hard, you will be rewarded. That's like a general thing we're mostly all taught.
sometimes you're only working because you're looking for the reward. And that's a big problem too. You understand? So the reason why you're initially kind of doing things is, I need a self-image here. I get power, I get honor, I get respect, I get this, I get the money, I get so I'm working for that actually.
Ties you to the 1%. You're
And-
stuck in the 1% in that mentality.
And also, wouldn't the quality of the work be degraded if you're only doing it for a reward? Because really, true quality of work only exists when you're doing it with passion and purpose. If you're doing it for a reward, most of the time it's
Exactly.
work.
But there's still reward
But what if
attached
your
to
passion is the
and
reward?
purpose. Yeah.
The passion is the reward.
At the end of the day, we're still earning light.
But we are vessels, so if we understand in our calculations, spiritual people, that if I dedicated my entire energy towards impacting the world, I'll be more rewarded, not just in physical material goods, but in energy. So but we need that energy, of course. How can we thrive? How can we live if we don't have energy? Isn't it? So,
Isn't it the difference between something that's rewarding and something that's a reward?
But everything that's rewarding is a reward.
Not necessarily. A lot of people have lots of rewards, but they don't feel like their job is at all rewarding.
I'm not just talking about work, though.
So many of us, go to work in order to have that amazing vacation later on. So it's paradoxical. So from the Kabbalistic point of view, there is no such a thing retirement. Why? Because it's not really work. The work is already the reward.
Yeah.
You don't
Exactly.
look to an outcome. The work itself,
Exactly.
am I sitting here I'm thinking, when this class going to end? I want to go home and be with my wife.
I hope not.
I'm not. I'm actually,
You're enjoying our company.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. We're enjoying ours.
I'm really enjoying this position that the light gave me to share. Of course, without students you cannot really share, isn't it? So if you look at the heart, The heart really takes break. No, it's like pumping all the time, non-stop. It doesn't say, I want to break. Your sun want to break. The sun's shining all the time, constantly. Therefore, we have to come to that place when we're going to be in that level of consciousness. Yeah, the slave is really that we are a slave to the outcome of things. The outcome of things. This is so within the word work already the slavery exists. You understand? So they say that there is two types of work, according to Kabbalah. There is avodat Hashem, which means that you're working for the light. You are like the light ambassador. And there is what we call avodah zara. Zara, it's foreign or strange. How do you call zara in the best way? Strange. It's like you worshipping idols.
Unacceptable.
Yeah, so you're worshipping things that are completely other than the Creator. If we're coming to the night of Pesach, the consciousness that we need on Pesach is really the understanding that we can be redeemed from our own slavery in just 1 second. We need to believe in that. Because if we don't really believe in that, how could it be? If we're not really studying about this night and the big consciousness behind it, I need you, if you want to benefit the most of it, to go a bit deeper and to learn the process from the Haggadah, the 15 steps and all of that. But I will break it also for you in simple. In Pesach, we use two main ingredients. One is the matzah, and the second is the wine. The matzah is related, of course, to the mouth. So it says that the mouth is malchut de rosh, which means that it's the manifestation of this. Of the rosh means of the intellectual, of the intelligence of each and every one of us. But it says that mouth does two things. It has intake and output, not puking. Speaking.
That's what I was thinking, to be honest. I'm like, it goes in, it comes out.
Some people, they speak like they puke on you. It's like they take all the negativity on someone else. They can do that. Absolutely. But it says that what differentiates us from the rest of the reality, the worlds, the animals, the vegetation, the inanimate, is the ability, when someone comes to maturity, we call him medaber. It means that the animal that is able to speak. Everything works through the mouth. All the unification happened through entering food and being able to manifest the sechel, the intelligence, through saying the right words. Okay, so this is what really happens in Pesach. So the place of manifestation is really the mouth, pretty much. Something. Look, we're using the mouth. How people are able to control other people these days.
Speech.
Through speech, exactly. There is no, physical burden as much as it was before. Now, you go and people are gathering their groups with the power of their speech, the leadership. So the ability to make a use of their mouth. So this is why we're using the mouth so much during this holiday. One, to allow the matzah, which is the bread of healing, the bread of contraction, that arousing what we call the awe inside of us. And the second is the wine. That wine is always going to be escort. We have 4 glasses of wine connected to the tetragrammaton, which is the Yud Ke Vav Ke. It's always ascended to a section in the Haggadah. And what is the Haggadah? Haggadah with the letter A, it means it's the telling, praising of the Creator. That's what we're doing. Through the speech, and what we want to redo is reprogram the way we speak. Because first, we're not speaking enough the words of consciousness. Because why the mouth was created to begin with. So we can praise the creation. Yeah, we can go and tell, this is miraculous, and you look at this tree, it's miraculous, and everything is related to the Creator, and humanity is miraculous, and with the right words we can create creations and amazing things, all the inventions, how could they take place if we weren't able the ability of communication? But also the destruction came about. One order from Putin put millions of people in strain right now. One order, They also say that his commanders are afraid to tell him the truth of what's really going on in Ukraine. I don't know if you heard about it. They've been defeated, but they're not really reporting them because they're afraid, because he's their dictator, or they don't want to disappoint him because he's the boss. So it's all about the speech, all the leadership that someone can have or not having, to be speechless, or to be someone that, reserve himself in speaking out, losing the opportunity of using the speech. So we are empowering the malchut, the rosh, what we call this area, to express, so we be able really to inspire people about creation. This is what we want. And this is a question for you as people that studying Kabbalah. What is the workshop for us, really? It's to look very carefully how much we obsess about self-image, being reserved, and not really using our mouth to really do what we're really excited about in life. And where does those limits comes from 1 to 10? So it could be, okay, I'm a student of Kabbalah, per se. We have many different students here, in different levels, different experiences, how many years and so. But the question for us is how excited we are first in taking on whatever we learned over the years and adapting them 100% to our life. To what level we are. It's something that we have to check. Because if we won't do this check before Pesach, because we have to identify, we have to bring the chametz, we have to bring the ego into the surface to see how low we are. If we won't understand how low we are, we won't be able to benefit from what the Creator can elevate us to. Understanding where I am in terms of my commitment to spirituality and how much I'm excited, and knowing that this is what is needed to change the world. When I was excited at the beginning, Kabbalah 1, I said, wow, this is like life-changing. Yeah? Everyone should learn it. How much did I do to bring it and to share it with others? Yeah? So, how much the use of my speech, my speaking, putting aside my self-image and what others will think about me, and be ready really to just create miracles to other people by ignoring it. I think that's where we're lacking.
David, you can't separate self-image from that, though, because the speech you emit is a function of how you're viewed by the world.
So if you are selfless, it means that you're not bothered about the
criticism of others.
The criticism about statistics.
Of course.
So, this can connect, this is not can connect, this is Jewish, this is this. We always bring the limitation. I always share with people, you can bring your crowd, and I can come to your home, and I can do a lecture there. So I said, let me check who would be candidate for that. Already put the limitation. You understand? And that's what we do. We're already putting the limitation over our ability really to impart.
Does not everyone have a different process as a function of what their tikkun is through to completion? And for some, everybody has different challenges for that purpose, and everybody walks a different path through life based on their communities that they're meant to have. Just theorizing here.
So I tell you something. This is related very much to the month of Aries. Mm-hmm. You need to understand, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and I think Moses too, was an Aries. Even they say Moses was a Pisces.
I always thought he was a Pisces.
Yeah, he's a Pisces, but I think it was like Adar Aleph or Bet that already has the energy of
the Aries. Yeah.
Exactly.
He's a cusp, baby.
He's a cusp. Why? Because the Aries energy, and that's what you can receive, the one that they don't bother by the rest of the world. They just create a revolution. So if Abraham didn't reach out to all the people and create a revolution bringing Kabbalah, it wouldn't be able to be available. If the Rav and Karen wouldn't break all the iron curtains in what they do, they wouldn't accelerate the process. Because, they say that there are two ways to bring the redemption. One according to cause and effect, which is going to be very slow, unfortunately. And one, it's achishena, chipazon, it's the quickness. So we can make that,
Instantaneous.
if you leave your self-image alone, you leave your tikkun aside, you know, and you say, yeah, I know that I have fears, I know that, but I know that it's related to my limited beliefs. I know that it's related to my ego. I want to put my ego aside.
You bat your head
And I'm
against the
daring to do
door.
something like that.
You force the issue.
So you
Kind of like the story of Paul, right? No matter what happened to him, he got put into jail, got tortured.
So you are canceling
Decided to do
time.
what
You understand? We have the ability to cancel time. It's already installed inside of us. The question is if we're going to do that. So this is a big question mark that we need to question this Pesach. How much really in this world that is crying and weeping and there's chaos all over, and we like taking our time. Like it's okay. Because I have my comfort, it's okay for me to take the time. It's not necessarily through Kabbalah. Yeah, it could be through any other thing. But we love Kabbalah. Everyone is still on class 11 p.m. at night. So it means that we're loving it, yeah? We need to remember that Nisan, it's related to the word Nes. And the Nes also corrupted work, the word miracle. It's misunderstood. Because the Rav said, and I heard the lecture from the Rav about Pesach, said, miracle is misunderstood, because what is miracle in Hebrew? Nes. And Nes is actually to run away. It's run away. To run away from what, Hartley?
Our self-image.
Exactly. The Nes is really to run away from our programming, from our limited programming. This is what it's all about. And that's how you see miracles then. So miracle is the result only when you run away from the things. Oh, you know, everyone has this process. When someone has the desire really to share and impart, the Creator set up this opportunity for him to share. He set it up. But if someone is like over-calculating, of course, it's never going to happen.
I had a question about the distinguishing between self-image and self-criticism. Is there space for self-criticism in terms of I understand what you mean, that we shouldn't be obsessed and engrossed with how we look and how we make others feel or things like that, and be too worried about our external output, as you say. But what about our internal? Like looking into ourselves, because realistically, how do you grow if you don't look at yourself and think, how can I be better?
You need to look at yourself deeply, but you need to also learn to be compassionate with yourself, like the Creator is compassionate with you. And most people of the world, they're not compassionate with themselves. They're constantly putting themselves down. And because they're putting themselves down, they don't have really the power to go and use their mouth in the right way. And that's the problem. Even though we try to self-image, like we don't criticize ourselves too much, but deep inside we are always we always, we are the worst enemy, pretty much. Nobody else. Whatever happens around is just triggering those insecurities inside us to judge ourselves more and say, I am, and it's tiring, because how can you do something if you always just see the negativity of yourself? Yeah, it exists. It's okay, but it says that it's impossible. It's impossible to learn from mistakes. Can you imagine? Did you know that?
How is that possible?
It's not possible.
How else do we learn?
Why? Because how many times you made mistakes, and intellectually you realize that you're making a mistake,
Of course.
and then you
have to.
repeat it again.
Right, but that's part of being an intellectual, is that you're able to analyze your actions. And
No, you
understand where
analyze
they
it, but
came
did it really help you to change?
from. Of course it did.
If you're Sagittarius, it does.
Of course it does, because isn't that the point? Like, isn't that the point? When
But
we
you
do,
don't
like,
have
an evening
repetitive
prayer,
mistakes?
Aren't we reflecting on ourselves?
But tell
and
me
saying,
something.
Understand, it's not the mistake itself, but more the outcome, what you learn.
Tell me, but if you repeat the mistake,
It makes sense.
what does it mean?
You're still learning. Anyway, it's from the light. There's no mistake.
Exactly. So what I'm trying to tell you, it's not true. Intellectually, you cannot learn from your mistake, because there is a klipa that governs on you, that force you to redo the mistake over and over. So you have to treat that klipa, you cannot treat things intellectually only. Yeah, you need to use the brain to even to understand what I'm saying right now. But that's the no. Of course, we're changing. But when we're changing, when the klipa breaks, that's when the transformation take place. Before that, no transformation really. No real transformation. So that's where we need to. But if you won't treat the klipa, most likely he can hear you. It's like coming from one ear and leaving to the other ear. But if you use those spiritual tools that are designed to break the klipot, then the change does happen by itself. It's not happening intellectually. And that's what all the energy of Pesach is all about. Yeah, to understand that it's related to netzach, to eternal, to immortality. Yeah, so the word netzach and the word eternal are the same. Netzach is also coming from the word to win over, the natseach. So physically, there are things there are games that you lose, there are argument that you win, sometimes lose one, win one. That's how life is. But in the internal, there is no. If you are connected to right intelligence, no matter what is the physical outcome, you always stay eternal, immortal. And this is what we're trying to achieve. So guys, I'm going to light a candle now and to invite all the tzaddikim to help us to internalize what we learned today. Again, it was on the big picture of understanding Pesach, and hopefully we all have the real power to get rid of the old self-image belief systems, because the belief system is what I really believe that I'm capable in doing according to the limitation of time and space. But the moment I disconnect from it, and that's what's going to happen on midnight of Pesach, I'm disconnecting, and suddenly I can say, wow, I can do so much more. And then you have to take it and start doing more for the world, because it's so necessary. So, the honor of all the tzaddikim, zchutam shel kol tzaddikim, tagen alenu. Amen. Great. Guys, the whole idea, the whole idea of Pesach, that of course you can do it with family, you can do it with the online, with Michael, but if you don't have a choice and you have to do it this way, that's one thing. But if you have a choice, please, it's going to, whatever we talked about, going to be much more effective doing it with a group. The power of the group, the power of the minyan, it's changing everything. So the online, unfortunately, reducing a lot of what we are capable to receive. You can see the people here; they are very fascinated about being here. All right, guys, but make an effort, and it's a life-changing event for sure for all of us with that consciousness. So I'm looking forward to see you all. Thank you all for joining, and hopefully we can do it at least once a month before the new moon.